Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name's Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride!
It's officially June, so we're going to talk about some of our Pride recommendations as well as some that we want to read with LGBTQ plus representation, which I think is super important in books. Unfortunately, I'm ashamed to say I didn't read as many as I thought, and so I had kind of a hard time coming up with ones that I liked that I wanted to recommend.
Yeah, I feel like I have read so many, but I just cannot
I
recall.
have to be missing them because I know that I have read more. And of course there's books where there are characters with LGBTQ plus.
I feel like those are the ones that I've read more of, which kind of sucks.
But I wanted to make it so that the main characters were queer versus the side characters.
Exactly. And
for better representation. So.
I think that's what I went with too. Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely. So actually the first one that I want to recommend is actually nonfiction, which this is the first year I've read a nonfiction. And I want to make a concerted effort to read more nonfiction for Pride. So next year, hopefully, you will see more of that on my list. But the first one is The Stonewall Reader. I absolutely give this one 5 stars. I highly recommend it. It is very, very good. It's a hard read because it's very sad. It's very emotional. And it's hard to believe that some of the laws that were in place and are still in place, and the laws that got turned over in the years that they got turned over, which some of them were 2003, and some of them were still battling, but it's very informational on what actually happened in Stonewall and getting all the different actual speeches, and I listened to the audiobook as well as read through the book. I read it as I listened to the audiobook, and that was really nice because some of the actual interviews were read, so they were played in the audiobook, so that was kind of nice. I got to hear.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there were some parts in there about Marsha P. Johnson, which I absolutely love, Queen. So yeah, I absolutely recommend that one. It's a fantastic read, and I think everybody should really read it to know the truth of what everybody went through.
So kind of piggybacking off of that, the nonfiction recs that I have are, so I'm obsessed with Queer Eye on Netflix, and a lot of the guys from Queer Eye have written books. My personal favorite is actually probably Karamo's book. I read it several years ago when it first came out. It's sort of a memoir. It's really great. He has such an interesting story about growing up Black in America and then coming out a little bit later in life as gay. And he actually, when he was in high school, he wasn't out and he was dating a girl, and the girl got pregnant, and he didn't know about it. She got pregnant and she moved away, and by the time they reconnected and he found out he had a son, she had already had another son by somebody else, and he actually adopted both of them. He was a father to both of them.
Oh wow, okay.
Both his son and his son's brother, and now he's got 2 sons, and he's just got the best story, and he really works hard to help Black people in America and gay people in America, and the show in and of itself, if you've never watched it on Netflix, is fantastic. And the other book that I love from one of the guys from Queer Eye is Anthony Actually Writes Cookbooks, and this one's really great. I've made a couple of recipes out of this. My husband actually got this for me as a gift. I want to say this is the one. You got me one of them signed. He got this for me as a gift signed. They're just really great guys, and I think it's important all months out of the year, but especially during Pride Month to support them, queer people. So
absolutely. Okay, so the second recommendation I want to make is Malice by Heather Walter. This one is a reimagining of a story of Maleficent and Princess Aurora, and I
so bad.
Absolutely love it. It's a wonderful fantasy novel, totally different than I've ever read before, and it definitely fits this month perfectly. And I gave it a 5-star. It has a sequel, Miss Rule, that I have not read yet, so that one is definitely what I will be checking out soon. But I absolutely loved this one. I also really love the world in this one because there's different, I don't remember what they're called. Each person has a different sort of power. And they're really good for, one of them can do beauty, like potions. They're not called this. I cannot remember.
I can't look at him.
Y'all were ruining this.
Our husbands are in the background for reference because I just don't think we're going to get through the rest of this without laughing, so we might just have to mention it.
They're called graces. So she's a dark grace.
Love that.
And so they each make like different potions, and one can help for like beauty, and one can help for like power, one can help for like, you know, like if you need health, or if you need to like pass a test. Like there's different graces that can help you with all these things. But
the potions from Harry Potter.
Yeah, but she's a dark grace. So her power can only be used for like if you want your enemy to have warts or something like that.
I love that for her.
So it was very, very interesting. I really, really liked it. Up next.
The next one that I have is going to come of no surprise to anybody is The Song of Achilles. I feel like I can't shut the fuck up about this book.
And you shouldn't, honestly.
No. And I mean, I'm not the only one. Like, it's definitely a very popular book. I am obsessed with it, though. It's one of my favorite books that I've ever read. I recommend it to everybody, and this month is no exception. It's just so good. It's such a great retelling. A lot of people will say that it's like not as impactful if you know like the story. So go into it with that. I felt like it was still impactful, but a lot of people feel like it's not. But I loved it. I knew the story beforehand, and I still really loved it.
I was one of those people.
Yeah.
But it's a beautifully written.
Madeline Miller writes like nobody else that I've ever read.
Yes. So I want to clarify what I mean by that. When everyone was talking about it, everyone was like, I sobbed so much at this book. And it was all over like TikTok, and like everyone was talking about it, and like I don't know. I didn't cry. And I guess it's because like I don't know. I'm cold-hearted.
I am too. I don't cry very often, but like that, and I knew how it was going to end, and I was like, please let it not end like this, and it absolutely ended like that.
But it is a beautiful book.
So beautiful.
It's a beautiful book. So I get it.
Yeah.
I do. I understand it.
And the two main characters are gay, and it's a time where like it's very much not okay. So it's just beautiful. It's such a beautiful love story.
Yeah.
And tragic, but beautiful.
Absolutely. The next one I want to recommend is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Most people don't know that this one actually is a queer book.
I didn't.
But it is. And I absolutely love this book so much for that. Like the way, and it is the main character. Sorry to tell you. I
No spoiler.
fucking love it.
Wait, I'm confused. She had husbands?
Nah. Yeah.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah, she had husbands. A lot of them.
They didn't stick for an obvious reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't read the book, so I don't know if that's what
I mean, it's not like, I mean, it's not that she didn't love them. Like she had many different relationships, and for good reason. I mean, all of her relationships were ended for reasons. But it was a very interesting book, I'll tell you, and I really liked it. It's not my favorite by her, but it's definitely worth mentioning on this list specifically because I think it did a really good job, again, of an interesting time when that was very frowned upon, and especially because Evelyn Hugo was a huge, huge movie star, and it was just, she was so in the spotlight and everybody watched her so much that it was an interesting world to look at. Like to see all that through her eyes and see the struggle of having millions of people just watch your every move and know that you really couldn't like be yourself and be happy.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it really sucked. Like that one made me cry. That one made me cry.
Yeah. The next one I have is Mistakes Were Made. I don't remember the name of the author.
Merle Wilsner?
Sure.
I think.
That's right. This one is a sapphic romance. So here's the thing. It's not that I wouldn't recommend it. Obviously, I'm putting it in the video, so I recommend it. It wasn't my personal favorite because it had tropes that I don't love, but I still think it's a great Pride recommendation because a lot of people did like it, and I think a lot of people who don't know about it would like it. It just didn't personally work. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. It wasn't my absolute favorite, but I did really like it. It's about a relationship between a young woman and her best friend's mom. They actually meet at a bar and have like a kind of a one-night stand, and then the next day her best friend brings her to meet her mom like out for breakfast, and they
so it's not like
that like it doesn't start after. They don't know. They don't know.
Sense. Okay,
she doesn't know it's her daughter's friend, and so and then it kind of goes from there. The younger woman doesn't have a ton of family, so she goes on with her best friend for like the holidays, and their relationship kind of kicks back up, and it was really interesting. There were a couple of tropes that just didn't work well for me personally, but overall I think it was a good book and I would recommend it. And it's hard to find like good like sapphic romances. I feel like
it's so hard to find good sapphic romances.
I feel like there's a lot more like gay romances than there is like, you know what I mean, like 2 men versus 2 women.
There are. It's so much harder. I'm finding more now, which I'm happier about, but definitely in the past several years it's been a lot harder to get sapphic. So hopefully we will keep going in the right direction and keep getting more and more, because that makes me really sad. So the last one that I want to recommend that I have read is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. And I know this one is talked about a lot, but I did decide to include this one because even though it was not like my favorite read, because I don't read a ton of young adult, I think this one is very good for what it is. I mean, it's a great young adult book. It's about 2 characters who absolutely are coming to terms with like who they are and getting comfortable with, you know, coming out and telling people about who they are, and they're also having to kind of deal with this crazy conclusion of their life and dealing with humanity and looking at their own mortality. And I think it's just a really great story for everyone to read, honestly. It also has like a really cool plot, like very interesting. Just telling you a little bit about it, but I don't want to do like too many spoilers on this one in case people haven't read it, although I feel like everybody's like touched this book at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of know what's going to happen based on the title.
They both die at the end.
Yeah,
So, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, I always wanted to read it.
Isn't there a sequel?
I think so.
Which is weird to me. I don't know how that happens. I've never looked at it.
Or like maybe it's like a like some sort of companion novel.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
If they both die, like I'm not sure how they would
right.
write a sequel.
I've just thought about that.
Yeah.
Like, anyways, yeah. So I would recommend that.
The last one that I want to recommend is another one that I feel like gets talked about a lot, but hasn't been in the last few years. Like this was really popular when I was younger. It was The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I love this book, and it's one of the few instances where I feel like the movie was just as good as the book. It was fantastic, and it's popular for a reason. It deals with a lot of like difficult topics, I feel like, including like, you know, mental health and stuff like that. And it was weird like watching it when I was reading it when I was younger, because I feel like it was a lot of stuff that I wasn't really prepared to deal with, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think I was too young when I read it, but now like looking back I realized that it was probably really important for I think a lot of young people to watch and or read. So I would definitely recommend it.
Okay.
Did you ever watch that?
No.
It was a really good movie.
I need to.
Yeah.
So now we're going to give you some titles that we want to read. So hopefully these will be on our next Pride video. These are some that just caught our eye. We've been meaning to read these for a while. Some of these I went on kind of a deep dive to look into some more actual books that I want to read that I didn't know about, because there's quite a few that are out there that are like I hear about all the time. But I wanted to find a few that I have not heard about. The first one that I want to talk about is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I have heard a lot about it. I have it already. I need to read it.
I have it on my want to read list too on Goodreads.
It's just sitting there. I need to read it. Like, I've heard really good things about it.
The first one that I have that I want to read is, was it Delilah Green Doesn't Care? I just wrote Delilah Green down.
Yep.
This comes highly recommended by a lot of people, but especially her. She really liked it. I actually own it. I just haven't read it yet, but it sounds really good.
That one is number 1 in the Brightfall series. Those are all sapphic. Fantastic. Probably my favorite sapphic series. Yeah. The third one's coming out soon.
Was the second one good too?
Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. It was good too. Not like Delilah Green is still my favorite, but I did like it. Yeah, absolutely. It was good.
Yeah.
It was so cute. It was fun. I have never read Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin, and I feel like that needs to be rectified.
I've never even heard of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think
maybe we should buddy read it.
Yeah, maybe we should.
The next one I have that I want to read is Written in the Stars. I feel like, isn't this like a retelling?
I don't know, but I hear so much about it, I need to read it.
I think it sounds adorable, and it comes like highly recommended on TikTok.
Yeah.
So I really want to read it. It's another sapphic one.
Okay. This is one that I just found on Goodreads. It's called Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters. I want to read that. Absolutely.
And then the last one I have that I want to read is One Last Stop by Casey McQuinston. This is another one that I heard about on TikTok.
I have also heard about this one.
And I have it downloaded on my Kindle. I just haven't read it yet, but I'm really excited to.
Yeah, I agree. And then All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. This is a memoir that I absolutely want to pick up.
Yeah, I've heard about that one too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also a Jodi Picoult, Sing You Home.
Are you pronouncing it right for the
first time ever? Apologies to Jodi for pronouncing her name wrong my entire life.
We all did. We were all saying Picoult.
Pico. That's how her name was said. Apologies, Jodi. Like, we accept that we're wrong on this channel.
Yeah.
Okay. I said Katie Roberts for the longest time.
I still say Katie Roberts.
Okay, so
I refuse to call Manon.
Manon, yeah. Yeah. So, Sing You Home, I found out about today, which I don't think I have that one.
I didn't realize that was clear. Okay.
So,
I heard about that one too,
synopsis says that it's a husband and wife that get divorced, and then the wife finds new love, and the husband tries to take custody of the daughter because of the new love she finds. I want to read it.
Interesting. Okay.
So, I think that's it. Yeah. Good. Okay. So, I'm really happy that we did this one. We've been trying to gear up for this.
Yeah.
I'm very excited that we were finally able to do a Pride one. So those are the recommendations we have for you, and those are the new ones that we want to read. So I hope you all have a wonderful Pride, and comment down below, let us know what you think, and hit us with any of those other recommendations. We would love to have them. Hit that like button and subscribe, and make sure you turn on that notification bell so you know when we post next.
Bye.
Bye.